staying?
All right, so we're with my family, my dad. All right, so here, welcome to the episode 68, and we have a special guest. We have Bull Garlington here, and we're here in Chicago.
That's all right.
The mountain had to come to Muhammad because we couldn't
There
get
you
him
go.
on, so we met up here in Chicago to have a little chit chat
And a cigar.
and a cigar. Yeah, which by the way, the prices went up.
It's $19.
Yeah. Problem is, I can't get these. I can't order these unless you want to buy a box.
I mean, that's why people. I mean, you probably should. You know.
I don't smoke that many cigars though.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm telling you,
We're in the phone zone, man.
All right. Well, let me start off with this. Well, I don't think you want to talk about the troubles, right? I heard a funny story. It was an old story, and it was Stephen King. Stephen King was doing an interview with Conan O'Brien, and I was like, I'm sitting out on my front porch after a day of yard work down in Tennessee, and me and Annie are sitting there, and I start laughing, and she's like, "What are you laughing about?" I go, "I just watched this video." It was Stephen King giving an interview to Conan O'Brien, and Conan O'Brien asked him a question, which first of all I thought was a brilliant question. He said, "Have you ever had a story that you started writing?" And I would ask the same thing of you. Have you ever had a story that you started writing that you thought was good, it was going somewhere, and just sort of you couldn't finish, you petered out, you couldn't finish it?
What did Stephen King say?
Stephen King said that. He said, yeah. He goes, I once started writing a story about the ladies' room at the Stapleton International Airport in Denver. He said his story started out with there's a couple, a man and a woman.
Super specific.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny. It caught my attention because I've actually been to the Stapleton Airport, and so he says, so you have a couple that comes that's walking through the airport, and the wife says to the husband, "I have to go to the bathroom," and he says, "All right, we got 5 minutes before they start calling us to board, so make sure you hurry up." She goes in. She's like, "Okay." She goes in, and he's standing there. And every guy's been in this position where you're standing outside the ladies' room waiting for your
Yep.
wife.
Looking like a punk.
Yeah. And then a second couple walks up, and the lady goes in the bathroom. So now there's two guys standing there, and they're chit chatting. He's like, "We got to get going. This is taking too long. We got to get to our gate." And then pretty soon another guy comes along. Another guy. So there's four guys standing outside the bathroom, and the women are coming out. And it's like they're all starting to freak out, and so and nobody wants to go into the ladies' room, and there's
Wow.
there's other women in there. So finally, the fourth guy that comes there builds up his confidence, and he goes in to see what's going on in the bathroom, and just as the door closes, you hear screams coming from the bathroom, and he says now the other guys call security. Some of the security people go in the bathroom, they don't come out. And pretty soon now you got the police coming, and then you got the National Guard coming. The governor gets involved, and
$200-300.
Go over there.
and he says you got the governor involved, and there's all these people trying to figure out. And Conan goes, "Well, what happened?" He goes, "Well, I thought it was a good story, but who the hell knows what goes on in the ladies' restroom?"
Ah, man, what a setup. Oh, my
And I'm
God.
sitting there and I'm laughing, and I told Danny, and I go, "I swear to God, I honestly don't know if he was coming up with a story or if the whole thing was a joke."
It was a joke. I mean,
But
come
it was
on.
Stephen King. Him telling the story was so
You know,
compelling.
it could be both, right? Could be both, man. Fucking Stephen King. That dude's productive. I respect him, man.
Too lazy to go to her.
If anybody knows what that guy is saying, he's just wandering back and forth, yelling into the phone. So
Just wandering around right here. He's like, he doesn't want to disturb the people over there, but
Yeah, we
because
don't
they're
mind.
watching the game,
Yeah.
and the game's important.
yeah, we just have a microphone.
We
and
just
a video
have,
camera.
yeah, we're just,
So there's no reason not to.
don't worry about us,
bother
man. We're fine.
So have you ever had that? Have you ever had a story where you started it and it just sort of petered out?
Well, it's not nothing funny like that, but yeah, I have I used to, I don't anymore. But what would happen is I would get an idea and I would just dive in, and that's a problem. Because there are people that can write like that. They're called pantsers, right by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of danger in that because if you don't have fundamental tension established, then at some point there's no story. And when the story runs out for you, it's hard to recapture. It's hard to go back and Frankenstein that shit into what you've already created. And for a while there, I had this 20,000 word limit. And I would get ideas, and I get 20, and they were fucking beautiful, and I get 20,000 words into them, and the idea would run out.
This is what the fun thing about recording in public. You get the possibility that some guy's going to stand around his cell phone and
Like
just yell.
literally just standing right by our mic. That's so great. But okay, so I've learned some things recently because I'm going to school about this, and
He's going to Oxford.
I am
which is
going
why
to
we
Oxford.
haven't had too many shows together because he's been busy.
I am. I'll brag about my grades in a couple of minutes. So now I have a procedure for capturing stories, right? So because I never stop having ideas.
Yeah.
It just never stops, and it's really dangerous because every one of them feels to me like it's the best idea in the world, and it has that shiny new thing quality to it, and it's really difficult because it makes me want to work on that now, and that's a danger for people that are scatterbrained like myself.
Yeah.
So I came up with an idea, and now I have a little template, and I capture my ideas, and I write them down very thoroughly, and then I file them, and so I've got a whole idea file, and I keep working on the thing I'm working on. So I satisfy the need to get a lot of it down without fucking it up by writing it without all the proper parts in place. And then later on, I can go back, like I just did this. I took an old idea that I had that's been waiting, and I used it as an assignment at Oxford, and they were like, you should write this. And so if I want to right now I can take that idea and I can flesh it out and make sure that there's tension. I can work on the spine of the story, make sure that I've got a workable plot, make sure I've got the right kind of characters, and know where I'm going to go before I start writing it. And that way, I'll never lose that energy. I just did that with the one I just finished. That's how I wrote that one. I never slowed down. Every day, I'd write on that thing, and I had, except when I was in the hospital, and I had plenty to write. If you plan, I think it works better. Stephen King is not a planner. He's a pantser.
He just writes. He really just writes from start to finish.
Sits down and just does it. You son of a bitch. He blows it out, man. It's all in his head, but he doesn't ever completely know where he's going, and I think that's crazy. And I mean, I've tried it, and I can do it in short stories. In short stories, that is how I write. I don't plan out short stories.
Yeah.
I just knock them out. But with a novel, I've learned that for me, I need to have, I need to know where it's going, and I need to have all the work done beforehand. The thing that's most important is you need to have the central tension of the story determined. And if you can determine the essential tension of the story, then everything else will work out. But that thing you have to have, and if you don't have that, you're a fucking idiot. And it sometimes takes doing all that planning to discover that,
I've been hooked on this lately. This YouTube channel called Professor of Rock,
Oh yeah.
and he was telling a story about a guy who wrote a song like that, and his bandmates thought the song was great. I off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of the song, but I remember telling the story that it was 5 years before they recorded it because he kept saying, "It's not ready yet. It's not ready yet."
Yeah.
And Queen of Hearts by one of the Allman, Dwayne Allman, I think. He told a story about that where it took him 3 years to write the song, and it's like you have to figure out something. He had the idea for a song and it just didn't work out, so he put it away and came back to it. And put it away and came back to it.
I mean, the great songs they're stories, and you got to have all the same parts of one of those. So you look at a good Bob Dylan song or good Tom Waits song. In the core of that song, it's a story, and you may be just looking at the song, may be a snapshot of the story. But if you were able to go through the lens of the song into the actual story of what happened, there's an entire complete story there. That's what makes the song great. You know, you think of
Tom Waits really, more than anybody else, taught me what the power of music to affect people.
yeah.
Because my wife gets actively angry if she hears Tom Waits singing. It's something about his voice that makes her actively angry.
I knew somebody that was like that with Rufus Wainwright. All right. Now I think Rufus Wainwright has a beautiful voice. He's a singer-songwriter. His dad was somebody. Wainwright was also famous, and I forget the names of the songs he's done. But I think his songs are absolutely just luxurious and wonderful. But his voice is kind of. Imagine if Bob Dylan could actually sing a melody, right? He's got a very nasal voice, and you feel like he's going to complain. He's got a voice where you feel like he's going to complain. And 20 years ago, when I worked in a record store, his first CD came out, and it was gorgeous. And I remember we would play it in the store, and there was a particular manager, and if he was on, he would come back and he goes, "Shut it down." And I'm like, we're required to play this. He goes, "Not when I'm working." And he goes, "Shut it down." And I'm like, "Fine, whatever." He was kind of cool about it, but he was also like, "Please don't make me go through this." You know, I played one time because we had to play the national anthem every night, right? That's how you get people out of the store. So like 10 minutes before we close, I'd put on the national anthem, and then everybody. That's like the old, on TV. it used to be.
yeah.
That's where it came from. But boy, it would drive people out of the store. All right, there's something martial about it. One night, the CD that I always used wasn't working, so I went and I grabbed out of the stacks. I grabbed Molly Ringwald's version of the national anthem, and I put that on, and I wasn't even 2 bars into it, and one of my managers came back and goes, "I will fire you." He was not kidding. He goes, "You take this off now." He goes, "That is unacceptable." And I'm like, "Relax, buddy." He goes, "Take it off." And I was like, click.
It's like my son went through his Nickelback phase.
Oh,
we
my
do
God.
not listen to Nickelback in this house.
You know what happens when you get when 50 Cent and Nickelback work together? You get 45 cents.
What else do I got to tell you? So I got, so I'm visiting because we're taking moving my daughter out of her dorm for the end of the school year. And my God, can these kids fit a bunch of crap into a small space?
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah. Is she going to Tennessee or is she hanging out here?
No, she got a job.
Ah, crap.
We told her we wanted to come down for a couple weeks, so tell her job she'll take a couple weeks off.
What's her job? And first of all, kudos to her for finding a job.
Why?
Yeah, I've got some friends around her age that are having a hard time finding jobs.
I don't know why. I mean, it's like I guess maybe, I don't know. My kids have never had a problem finding a job, and I keep seeing all these jobs that are open.
Huh.
Tell them come to Tennessee. There's a lot of jobs. They can't find people to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's because it's Tennessee, man. It's far away in the middle of nowhere.
It's working at
It's
some
pretty,
clothing
though.
store as a boob measure. It's gonna measure the boobs for.
Wait, are you making that up?
They do that, and so I told her, that's the job they give to the new kids. You're gonna have to go measure boobs. That's what your job's gonna be. She's like, no, it's a clothing store. Said they sell bras.
Oh, man.
You know, I said, what are you talking about? I said, I remember when we were first married, and you would go to these fancy women's stores, because it's a fancy women's store.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you go to Target, you pick out your size, you walk up to the register, you walk out.
No.
It was like you go to the store, and they do all your measurements for you and make sure it does the
It's a fitting.
It's a fitting.
Yeah, as it should be.
And I said, you're going to be the over-the-shoulder boulder holder measurer.
The Winnebagoist.
And so we'll wait and see. I'm gonna mess with her about that. Yeah. So she got. You know what else? Though she applied for a research assistant job on campus. That they provide the housing for the summer. You stay in the dorm.
Sounds cool.
And they never got back to her. And it's like tomorrow's the last day of school. They keep saying. The last time she heard anything, they said, well, we still haven't made a decision. We're going to make a decision next week. That was last week. And the school ends tomorrow.
She'll probably get their call like the day she starts her new job. You know what I mean? That's the way it'll be. Well, I wish I could find some damn business, because I've been I've been trying to find business on LinkedIn, right? So what I do is, instead of working directly with a business, I would write for the PR company or the marketing company that already services that business. I write for them. I write for the agency, and so I'm trolling agencies right now and everything, and it's just taken a little longer than I thought it would. You know, I'm pretty good and I'm well known, you know, and in like the professional community, I'm well known. And I hang out with the right people. You know what I mean? Like in Chicago, some of the people that I hang out with once a month down at the Long Room, they're people who everyone knows their name, right? And I'm
Norm. Hey, can we just say,
yeah.
rest in peace, George Wendt.
Yeah, right there, George Wendt. Norm.
Anyway, so you go down there, so you know all these people, and you're.
Yeah, I mean, these are guys that like when they post, you know, like I like Nichols, 1,000 people comment like I like what you said about Nichols, right? And the people that are commenting are the people that hire people like me. That's what's great about them is they're an agency that serves the same people in a completely different capacity than I do. They do math stuff behind the scenes, and I comment and I go, "Hi everyone, I can write stuff," and they're like, "Fuck off," you know, nothing happens.
So you use LinkedIn? Does that work for you? Do you make contacts on LinkedIn? I just
Yeah,
started.
yeah,
I just did a LinkedIn thing.
Everything is. First of all, I'm doing LinkedIn right because I've got good advice from people that do it well, and free advice, thank God. I started a great newsletter called Gumbalicious, all right, and I do another thing called Today I Learned, and it's a slideshow, so it's very visual and it gets attention, and then anytime I write for somebody else, I post their article there, and so I've got a lot of attention and I got a lot of traction and everything. I haven't landed any leads yet.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is because the marketing universe is undergoing a brief collapse right now. So there's a lot of writers that are suddenly freelance writers. And it's just like when you and I put our first fucking book out, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, we got a book out, and the publishing is like, we're gonna die now.
Yeah.
You know? Fucking
Hell has finally frozen over. You did a book.
Look, there goes a pig.
Well, and I think I've been trying to figure out YouTube and stuff and try to get more. Like we got the last video I did. Basically, I was just talking about 1923. I think that was the last video I did. I have to look, but I got 500 views, and
That's
so
the
I'm
best
trying,
we've ever done, right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out how to get more YouTube views, and I think
SEO, man.
one thing I've been.
No, I'm not kidding.
I've been
SEO
doing
is the
a
way
lot
to do
of
it.
SEO. It doesn't seem. Well,
you gotta
maybe
do the
maybe
right
it is.
SEO.
Maybe it is part of what's getting more views. But
If you started using SEO and your views went up, that's a direct correlation.
well, that's actually what got me going with ChatGPT. I've been using ChatGPT to write SEO.
Oh yeah, it's
And-
it's good for that. And there's an SEO plugin you can get too.
Oh, I have to check that out. But what I started to say was, I've been a big fan of Two Way. It's a YouTube channel. Well, it's a website. Their videos are on YouTube, and they're political or news type stuff. But what they try to do is their big show is the morning meeting, and they base it on newsroom morning meetings because these are like Mark Halperin runs it. He's got a Democrat and a Republican on the show that they go over issues, and he's the moderator, and then he throws it to them, and they give the left or right view, whatever. But the difference is that they basically do it on Zoom. The audience is there, and then half
remember
the
you
show.
talking about
Yeah,
this.
half the show is you can raise your hand and ask them questions or make a comment about what they're actually saying.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Nobody has access to stuff like that.
So he's been expanding it, and they got a woman starting tonight. I don't know her name, who is basically less political and more about basically kitchen table issues. She wants to get regular
Sure,
people.
kitchen. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Well, she's emotional.
But it's less about like news and politics and more about what she wants to find out what people are thinking outside of news and politics.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, if she's starting it, I'm going to send them like a couple of our videos and go, we could do the same thing from a male, middle-aged point of view.
Yeah.
That's basically what we want to do. And we, because of our lives have been, maybe not
Yeah.
doing it as efficiently.
I apologize. I am incredibly, like right now, right now, while I'm talking to you, I'm also thinking, because I just got a new assignment, and it is hard, and I can't stop thinking about that. And I've got an article I've got to write, and it is hard.
Well, how much longer do you have for Oxford?
How much what?
How much longer does Oxford go?
I graduate in 2027.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm coming up to the end of the first year, and then I go in to the summer. I go over there in the summer to do class for 2 weeks, and then I'm off for a little bit. We're gonna drive around England for a little bit, and then I come back and start again in September.
Well, we should definitely do one together while you're there, and you should take videos and either send them to me and I'll put them on so we can show the videos of Oxford itself.
Oh yeah.
It's supposed to be absolutely beautiful.
It is. I can't fucking wait. Here's a cool thing. My student ID gets me into all kinds of shit for nothing. And I can't. And you know, the first place I'm going to go, and I can't remember the name of it, is Something House, which is right next to where I'm going to be going to school. It's the actual house they lived in when they put together the Oxford English Dictionary.
Really?
Yeah, you know the Madman.
and
It's the house they were in.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. My wife was like,
Professor
"We're
and the
gonna-"
Madman.
Yeah.
Great book.
Such a good
Lousy
book.
movie.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson fucked up that movie.
Well, I mean, he fucks up everything. So.
But the book was fantastic. And
No, I think that the YouTube stuff that you're doing is good. Have you looked into YouTube TubeBuddy?
no.
So back last year, before I went in the hospital, my hospital stay coincided with a strange event on Google because Google changed their algorithm while I was in the hospital. So leading up to my gallbladder surgery, I had this YouTube channel that I did just because I wanted to learn how that shit works, and it was taken off. And I was getting this close to monetizing, right? And I was like, holy shit! And it was just me taking notes. That's all it was, just me taking notes. And people are like, I fall asleep to your notes. I'm like, that's so nice. While I was in, and I this close, Dave, this close, and no effort. So it wasn't interfering with anything. No effort at all. I was already going to be doing that stuff. And so I signed on for TubeBuddy because everyone said you need TubeBuddy because it helps you optimize. It's like Yoast for videos, right? And it was working great. And then fucking YouTube changed the algorithm and it went like this. And I never got views again. And yeah, it killed my channel completely. My editors called me up right after that. No, we don't know what's going on, but all of our views are gone. All of our traffic is gone. And that's how they make their living, right? And that's how they pay me. So I was like, I am concerned about this. And me and this other guy I know looked at their website. He runs this huge company. We looked at their website and stuff, and he was like, maybe they have a hacker. He goes, because Google hadn't announced their change yet, you know. And then he announced their change. And he goes, this is what happened. And he goes, it killed everybody. So, but anyway, all of that to tell you, TubeBuddy is very
I'll check
helpful.
it out.
Yeah.
You know, funny, so getting back to Oxford for a second, as I was leaving today, I told my dad I was coming here to see you and stuff, and he asked what you were doing, and I said, oh, he's been going to Oxford to get a degree in creative writing. He's like, Oxford, I heard it. Is it a good school? And I go, yeah, Adolf Hitler went there. He's like, really? I said, yeah, right before he wrote his first novel. You know? He's like, oh, okay. And that's when I realized my dad's not paying any attention to what the hell I say.
Not. He's just.
He's just
my
making
God.
conversation, you know, checking in. I'm like, my God.
I did discover somebody went there that I can't believe it. Flannery O'Connor went there. She went to a summer session at the college I go to, College of Continuing Education, which has been going on since the 19th century. It's a really old college. It sounds kind of new, but it's not. Not as old as all the other colleges, but it's still been around since a long time. But I was like, Flannery O'Connor, like in my program, right? I'm like,
Well,
thumbs up.
Jack the Ripper went there, too.
just to work.
I mean, I think he got his medical degree from Oxford, but then he also took a continuing education course in knife work. You know.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what there was when you started this? I did look up, like, I didn't look it up again, so I don't remember the names. But I did look up bad people who attended Oxford.
Oh,
Like
good. That's what you look for first.
I think I
Yeah.
sent them to you. I said, you're going to the same school as so-and-so. You know?
Oh, my God. Well, I'm sure there's plenty of them. I mean, some Oxford alumni just got busted for slavery, you know? and she's
She?
from Africa. She's black from Africa, and she got busted for modern slavery because she had these people working for her and wouldn't let them leave and kept their passport and said, "You leave when I tell you to." Slavery. So,
Or marriage. But the reason I do that because I am always amused by the fact, ever since I found it out, that Mick Jagger went to the London School of Economics, and I thought I just like, how is amazing these people that go to these. You would never expect. I always look for like where people went to school and see if it's anything unusual, you know. Like
that's a novel you should write. Mick Jagger's alternate universe where he's a CPA guy, right? But he
he made $1 billion, so
he's a CPA guy. That's all he does. He's in London. He's like a mid-level CPA. He's got a little bit of a gut, you know. He's married. He's got 2 kids. Lives in a 3 flat, you know. But like when he's in the copy room, he's like this, you know. He's like, woohoo! That'd be funny.
The alternate history where Mick Jagger becomes the head of Doge.
Oh my God. So
Mick Jagger's gonna be 80 years old this year. Jesus,
dude's still killing it, man. Didn't he just have a kid, or produce a kid?
Something, yeah.
What
A
kind
few
of
years ago, I think he got
crazy
5 now.
motherfucker does that, man?
Well, somebody who can afford to have somebody else take care of him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The last thing about the Oxford stuff is it has spurred me to work really hard to like build my literary career, and I have been really successful so far this year in getting stories into literary magazines, and not just literary magazines, but the literary magazines that feed to awards and feed to analogies and stuff. So they're the ones that kind of matter, and some of them I couldn't believe that they existed, and I couldn't believe they feed awards, but I got into them. And the stuff I submitted to some of them is stuff I wrote in class. Pretty great.
Yeah.
And so today my tutorial was about the beginning of a novel, and it's a 1950s true crime novel, and so the grading system at Oxford goes to 100, right? You know, but a really good score, like a really, really good score, like the average top score is 65, right? Which in America you're like, dude, you're not going to make it into business school. In Oxford, that's called top marks. I've been getting 72s for everything. And one of the teachers even said, I've never given a score this high. This is really good. And so I'm in that, so far, if I keep this up, I'm going to graduate with distinction. I will I'll wear that on a fucking t-shirt.
You're going to give a speech?
I don't think it's that. I don't think I get one of
You're at
those.
the valedictorian?
At a bar.
Sorry. Looked like there was a look. It looks like there's about to be an accident out.
That's not even a parking space, dude.
He's a
What
little
does he
bit.
think he's doing?
He's a little bit in the parking space.
I mean-
I think he thinks if he gets 3 feet into the parking space, they won't give him a ticket.
Wow, that is some arrogant shit right there. All right.
So you want to hear about my bear?
Oh my! Have you given him a name?
No, not really. Stupid, dumbass. That's what I've been giving. I should give him a name. though,
You
shouldn't
should name your bear. If you've got a bear, you're obligated. Do it right now. Give that bear a name.
For everybody, I got a bear living on the mountain behind my house. Now this bear has been around for a couple years. I got video of it when it was a baby, and we thought it would move on, but it hasn't. It's now living there. So I'm working on my motorcycle a few days ago, and it was a nice day. 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're not talking about at night. Still light out. And all of a sudden I look up, and this bear comes gambling up my driveway chasing a bird. Like chasing a bird. Like literally the bird.
Was the bird flying?
The bird was flying, and it was flying low, and it looked like the bird was fucking with him. But he comes chasing the bird.
Because a bird can just go straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The bird was
bird
like
was
flying
fucking with
around. Yeah. And he comes gambling up my driveway and stops 6 feet away from me and looks. This bear, which I had seen up close the last time was when it was a baby, is now at least 300 pounds and as tall as me. And I cute as hell, but still.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit. And it stops 6 feet from me. It's looking at me, and I'm like, all right, go away, dumbass. And it turns around and walks down the driveway, crosses the street, up the hill. And I'm like, holy crap. Scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. But I live in an area which is still, it's technically part of the Cherokee National Forest. The area where I live is a bear sanctuary. You can't kill the bear.
Oh, I didn't
Unless
know
it's
that.
attacking you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well,
unless it's-
attacking you, I mean, you can. Was that bear attacking you?
No.
Was he though? I mean, you could make that. You could make. There's no cameras.
Right.
You know.
No. Actually, there
You
was
could have had a rug, Dave.
You know what? I didn't look. You know what? It probably was on camera now that I'm thinking about it.
I'm sure you've got
I'll show
cameras
you.
everywhere.
When we're done, I'll show you. So that was the. Because I didn't have my phone with me. I was going to take a picture of it, but I left my phone up in the house because I was working on my motorcycle.
Let's name this bear.
I
Do
don't
you know if it's a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
Okay.
You know that. I don't know. What's a good bear name? Winnie?
The only bear I know is named James.
James.
Yeah, he's a fucking.
The little.
He's a bear in the gay community.
Oh.
Rudolph, Randolph,
What was the name of the
Lord
guy?
Questar.
Do you remember that Burt Reynolds movie Smokey and the Bandit? What's that famous actor who played the sheriff? Jackie Gleason.
Yeah.
What was his character's name?
Rufus.
That would be a good one. Smokey
Rufus
the Bear.
T. Rufus T. I can't remember. Yeah, that would be right. Well, Rufus, right there.
Rufus, that's a good name.
What was the walking tall guy? What was his name?
Buford Pusser.
Buford Pusser.
Buford
God, what a
would be a good
fucking name, man. Rufus Pusser. There you go. Where I come from, I saw a bear when I was back home in Alabama, and it did not look healthy like your bear apparently does.
Oh, yeah, very healthy.
This bear looked like a starved dog, man.
How? Why is that?
I have no idea. Maybe he had a disease or something. He just didn't look good. I'm glad I was in my car because he was big and he looked desperate.
Well, we had one person post on Facebook about how the reason it's a bear sanctuary, they move bears from other states if there's an overpopulation or something.
Oh, how wonderful!
They move bears in there.
How great! I live in a tiger sanctuary.
When they move them in there, it takes them a while to understand where the roads are.
Yeah.
They tell you to
Don't
watch
the other
out.
bears don't have a welcoming committee and go, dude, here's where your roads are. Here's
Oh,
Highway
Buford
30.
T. Justice. That's
Oh my God!
Buford T. Justice.
You gotta call him that, man.
And but somebody posted on Facebook that they had hit a bear with the car, and the bear just wandered out right in the middle of the road. It's one of the where you're dry, you can't avoid it. So she hits the bear, and she calls 911. She gets out and she's patting the bear as it's laying there dying. And then the bear jumps up and takes off. And everybody on Facebook's like, "Are you out of your mind? You don't pet an injured animal."
Yeah, stupid, man.
They ended up having to hunt that bear down and kill it because it was hurt.
Yeah.
But
And they're animals. They don't have the same idea about things we do. You know, even if they look like they're being friendly, they're not.
yeah, then my dad goes, "Is the bear friendly?" And I go, "Well, he's friendly, but he's not trustworthy."
Yeah, they're not being friends. They're just waiting.
The problem is, at least in this bear's case, is that he does look very. They look like teddy bears. They
yeah.
look like they're cute.
Like you're gonna hug them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like they're ready to give you a hug.
Yeah.
But,
Like well, in Russia,
but that's the way I put it to my dad. I said he's friendly, but he's not trustworthy.
I see these videos of guys in Russia that have like pet bears,
Yeah.
and they're these just crazy. First of all, there's no better redneck than a Russian redneck. They are top tier red. They put Alabama rednecks to shame. All right. Same stuff. Cars in their up on blocks and everything. They're out in the country in Russia, shirtless with long dress pants on, you know. But the difference is they have a pet bear, and they will freaking wrestle that bear. And it's like, dude, That's not a pet bear. That's a bear that hasn't killed you yet.
Yeah, that's right. There are people that that try to make friends with the bears and and leave food out for them and stuff like. As a matter of fact, I went to an event and was meeting some of the people that I didn't know in my county, and I'm talking to one guy, and he's talking about how they love bird seed. If you leave bird seed out, they'll come and and they'll stay because this bear got into my smoker. Apparently he likes ribs, so busted up my smoker.
Go figure.
I had to fix it. So and this guy told you can leave seeds and stuff out, and then they'll go to that and they'll leave the other stuff alone. And then they're friendly, and they're fine. They won't wreck anything. And then I go 5 feet away, meet somebody else, and go, yeah. There's some people around here who are so stupid they put out bird seed for the bears and think that they're making friends with them and stuff like. They're like 5 feet away, and you get the guy that got it. It's really funny.
I wonder which one's true. Like, if you put out birdseed, yeah, they like it, but when you quit, they're like, fucker, where's my seed, man? I'm up on your porch.
Yeah, Annie's always worried it's going to get into the truck. Just make sure the car's. I'm like, what makes you think that this bear is going to figure out how to get in the car?
Have you seen the videos of bears getting into cars?
Occasionally.
There's a ton of them. There's a lot of videos of bears getting into cars, man. But also, I mean, if you lock your car,
yeah, you can bust the window.
Ruins the value of the car. I think the bear understands that. I think people that keep animals that are not normally domesticated as pets are fucking stupid. Like, there was a story of a woman that had a cougar as a pet, and then one day it killed her.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course it did. And people are like, why? Like, you never know why. There's no why.
No.
Cougar went into kill mode.
Yeah. For
Or
whatever reason.
The chimpanzee that ate some lady's face off.
Oh, yeah, I
God
saw that.
Damn, man.
And right in front of the owner.
Ugh.
I actually had we had a neighbor who had a pit bull, and one day she decided to foster another pit bull, and so I'm sitting out on my deck smoking a cigar, and I hear her screaming, and I'm like, what the hell? So I go running over there, and the two pit bulls are fighting. One of them's got the other one's locked in the throat, and they, I had to get a pipe and stick it in between his jaws and get them apart. And then
And
by
that's
that point
pretty
they were
brave because he could go after you.
well, they were both exhausted by that point.
Oh, well, there you go.
And then we had to carry him out on blankets to the vet. And
Damn.
but yeah, you don't know what can set animals off. I mean, she said the dog was fine.
Yeah.
They were fine. He'd been there for 3-4 days, and all of a sudden they just started going at each other.
Well, I mean, animals do have rules because animals live together, but we don't know what they are really.
Yeah.
We don't really know what they are. We can observe what happens, but we really don't know what their rules are. Although now with AI, they're starting to, there's a company in China that says that their AI app can translate cats, right? And I'm like, first of all, no, it can't. But second of all, if it does, that's a game changer, and we're not going to like any of it. All right? We're going to hate everything they say. I know my cat is going to be saying, fucker, open a door, no matter where he is. Outside, open a door, let me in. If he's inside, open the door, let me out. Because that's all he does, is in and out all fucking day. So Jones is getting old, man. And he's getting more and more mentally weird. But the in and out thing is just, we have no control over it, And so back when my dog was still alive, the time he got out the most was when I'm letting the dog out at night, because my cat is black and I don't really see him, and he's a cat. He knows how to sneak, right? And so I'd open the door for the dog, and I had made sure the cat's somewhere else, and cat's out first. So it was this winter, and it was beginning of January, and it was super cold, and I got a knock, and my wife was still at work, and I got a knock on the door, and I go out, and it's the Amazon driver. She'd already dropped off a package. I'd already picked it up, And I go out, and she's standing halfway down my driveway looking at me with a very wary look on her face. I'm like, what the fuck is happening now? And she goes, there's a cat. And I look over, and there's my cat just staring at her. It's 2 degrees out, right? And I go, yeah, that's my cat, Jones. And then I saw her face change. She's like, and she goes, it's really cold out. And she took a step forward. And I'm like, this bitch is trying to rescue my cat. And so I just kind of opened my door a little bit more and went, like this, and Jones like, whatever, and ran in the house. I'm like, yeah, he likes it. And I shut the door. Like, she was going to take my cat, man. You know? And half of me is like, would it have been so bad? You know? I mean, would it have been so bad? So, but that cat he's fired now because he is not doing his job, man. I literally got that cat as a mouser, all right?
Yeah, that's right. Didn't catch any mice.
Did he used to?
You know they have electronic things you can plug in.
Let me tell you what the Terminix people say about that. They say those things suck and they don't work.
Yeah.
They work for one mouse.
Well, I would definitely take the people who make more money if you don't use those things word over.
Yeah, whatever. Paranoid. I had Smithereens was my pest control.
It's like saying Firestone, saying, you know, those Bridgestone tires suck. They don't work.
Yeah.
You might want to
Kid doesn't look
you're gonna
bad.
wreck your car if you use those tires.
I mean, look at this. Let me show you what's wrong with this Bridgestone tire right here. I had Smithereen come out. They walked around the house, and they said, you should use these traps. And they go, there's maybe 1 or 2 mice in the basement, but we don't think it's a big deal. You know, I'm like, I just changed all my appliances because they were infested with way more than 1 mice. And the first day that I had traps out, I caught like 6 mice, which means there's 9 million mice in your house, right? So the other day, I saw another mouse. I'm like, motherfucker, right? So I call up and I start searching, and I see these 2 companies that call themselves mouse experts. I'm like, you know what? I need a mouse expert. One of them is Terminix. We all know Terminix. I never thought of them as a mouse catching company. So the guy comes over. He's very thorough and he goes, I need to go in your attic. I'm like, there's no mice in the attic. And he looks at me and goes, I need to go in your attic. And he goes, they're going in from the outside, and I can see where they're getting in, and they're definitely going in your attic. I'm like, son of a bitch. He comes down and he goes, yeah, you're running a mouse hotel. He goes, there are generations of mice that have burrowed into your attic. He goes, we're going to have... Yeah.
Right.
Oh, he goes, there's tunnels and cities in the installation. He goes, we got to bring it all out. And Nate, it's all in-house and everything, but they pull everything out, and then they get rid of all the things that the mice have done or repair it, and then they sanitize all the wood because mice are attracted by their own smells. So they sanitize all the wood, and then you put the special insulation back that's like, it's not that it's poisonous or anything, but it collapses really easy, and mice hate it. So then they put that back in, and I get like a little bit back on my taxes from it. It's nice. Yeah. Still, $8,000.
Wow.
That's not including. It's not including the other $8,000 I spent on new appliances. Although my refrigerator's pretty fucking great. I got a pretty great refrigerator, man.
We're getting our windows replaced. Our windows on our front door replaced next week, 2 weeks.
20 grand?
No, thankfully, about half that, almost 10 grand. And those are the big front windows too.
Yeah. I looked into getting the windows replaced, and I'm like, fuck, there's nothing I can do that doesn't cost at least 10 grand.
Well,
Everything I want to do.
Everything's a little cheaper in Tennessee. Although that isn't much cheaper. I tell you one thing that is great is I ordered the windows from, we did it Lowe's. Lowe's is doing it, and then they hire a contractor. But we went to the Lowe's in Virginia, in Abingdon, Virginia.
Yeah.
In Virginia, if you're buying something that becomes attached to your house, no tax. So if you buy a curtain, you have to pay taxes on it. If you buy the window, no taxes.
Or a curtain rod.
No, that's not permanently attached.
Oh, I see what you mean. Installed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But we got new gutters, no tax.
Damn. Well, I'm ready for the rest of the year for nothing to happen because we've had basic economic collapse at our house because of all the shit that's happened. Mostly the mice, but also the idiot plumber. Here's the other thing about the guy that came from Terminix, right?
Oh, yeah, whoa. Let's go. Oh, okay, go ahead.
He, on the phone, I mean, okay, this guy's Irish, right? It's Chicago. We're used to this kind of thing. And I'm like, I made a conscious decision. I'm not going to say anything about him being Irish. I'm sure he gets it all the fucking time. I don't need to talk about him being Irish, right? Or me going to Ireland or anything like that. He walks in the door. He's 6'7". So my mind is like whirling with anti-leprechaun jokes, you know, and like, and I, like, you know, like you already know what the top of the morning is like. Like just, I like it. My whole mind is doing it. I'm like breaking my back, not saying anything, but I didn't say anything. And his accent was definitely Lucky Charms level Irish. Okay, we get to the front door. This guy goes to shake my hand, and it's here at my shoulder. That's how tall he was. His hand, which was gigantic, is like at my shoulder level. I felt like a child. I felt like a fucking hobbit. And I'm looking up. He goes, "I'll see you shortly." And I'm like, "No, you won't. You're 6'7". You're never gonna see anything shortly." I almost broke my back to fucking.
But you were talking about the plumber and
man.
how you had. All right, so we started talking about this before we started recording. So you had the plumber come in to do something, and they couldn't find the water shut-off for the house.
Yeah, well, the mouse thing, I had to replace my dishwasher.
Oh yeah.
Because the mice had created a separate city under there, and they had died, and it was not good, dude. And so when they're trying to put the new one in, the guy's like, "I can't turn the water off because your shutoff valve's so old that it's just sealed into place." He goes, "I need to go in the basement." And fucking go in the basement then. He comes back and he goes, "Do you know where your shutoff valve is?" And I'm thinking, of course I do. And in my mind, it's right there, right? So we go down, no shutoff valve. And I'm like, "Well, is that it?" And the plumber's just staring at me. He goes, "No, that's not it." He goes, "It's a shutoff valve. It's going to be larger than that." And I'm like, "Well," he goes, follows the pipes, and he goes, "Well, it should be right there." I'm like, "Yeah, that's where I thought it was." Like, I remember having to go in under the stairs to turn it off the last time I had to do this before the dude remodeled my basement when I got flooded in 2020. And so he goes, and the dude wedges himself behind the wall, my new wall, all right? Well, it's 5 years old, and there it is, behind the wall, my fucking shutoff valve.
Oh, now, can you reach it, or do you have to take the wall out?
No, you got to take the wall out. Can't reach it. What they're going to do is they're going to extend it, but still going to take like that part of the wall out. It's ridiculous. It's going to cost me so much money. But the guy that did that also put in a bathroom in the basement. It's a pretty cool bathroom, I have to admit. Ran pipes overhead and put them, attached them to my hot water heater, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, the plugs the joints and everything that he used they're attached temporarily. They're not soldered.
Oh.
It's a pressure thing. Oh, hey Annie, how you doing?
How are your nails? Here, pull off
We're
the camera.
complaining. We're complaining about plumbing and stuff.
Plumbing and stuff.
Yeah.
You tell them we don't have to pay a water.
No, yeah, we don't have to pay a well. We have a pump.
We're
And
just
our-
leave the hose going for a week.
Our water is so pure that they actually ran a pipe on the other side of the mountain, and people come from miles around to fill their water buckets from our water.
Why don't you have to pay for water?
Because we got an underground stream.
Wow.
Underground.
Our pump breaks, we have to replace them.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be thirsty before you finish doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the guy put it in with pressure valves. It's temporary, right? It's been there for 5 years now, and we didn't know. And the plumber that came and looked at everything goes, "Yeah," he goes, "You could bump into that and it could all just explode." And I go, "But then I just hit the shutoff valve," and he goes like this, and then he goes, "But good news is this is a pretty good price." I looked down, $13,000 to fix everything.
Oh my God.
Most of it is stuff that stupid idiot did wrong.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Now are they? Huh? Yeah. Are they using PEX when they replace it? Or are they using copper pipe?
I don't know. Well, he used copper.
I just wonder, because in Tennessee there's no copper pipe. Except-
Because of the meth problem?
No, because it's just fixtures and stuff. But they use the plastic, the PEX. And you were there one year when my pipes froze. And, being from Chicago and being raised in Chicago, the pipe freezing is the most terrifying thing in the wintertime. Like, we were down there one winter, and all of a sudden the water doesn't work. I'm like, holy crap, the pipes froze. And the key is that when the pipes freeze, they thaw, and when they thaw, the water expands, boom, bursts the pipe, and you get water everywhere. So I was terrified. So I called the plumber, and the plumber goes, "Yeah, your pipes froze." And he said, it was Sunday. Remember, it was a Sunday. And he said, I can come out there after church, but if it's supposed to warm up. So if the water starts running, give me a call and let me know, and so I don't drive all the way out there. And so sure enough, about an hour later, all of a sudden the water starts running. And I call him up. I said, the water started running, but don't I have to worry about a pipe bursting? And he goes, no. We use plastic pipes. It ain't going to burst. You're going to be fine. And I'm like, are you kidding? So it froze this past year. It froze twice.
Why don't plastic pipes burst? It's the
Because
same problem.
They're
They're not that
they
flexible.
flex. They
Really?
flex, yeah. And so I'm like, well, why the hell? I said, why, we growing up we had lead pipes, obviously.
I still got those in my house.
Yeah. And I had some in my house too. And then and then we went to copper. And I'm like, why don't they use pipes up there? Oh, probably somebody's getting a kickback.
Yep. I remember installing. I worked with my dad. He was a plumber, and I worked in the summers with him all over Florida. And I remember us crawling under houses to install PVC pipe and running PVC down there. When I was in college, my summer jobs were always with the plumbers union, and most of the time I ran the boneyard. And the boneyard was where for a giant job, they just had boxes and boxes and boxes of like 45s and T-joints and all that stuff in all the different sizes. And somebody would say, I need 15 4-inch elbows. And I'm like, be right there, and I'd run them over to them. It's a stupid job. Easy, I'll tell you that.
Good college job.
Yeah, it was easy.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for.
Well, it was nice being on the podcast.
Yeah, we got to try and do it more regularly now.
I will definitely do some videos in England, but you may have to remind me.
Yeah.
All right, because it's really hard. I've been missing.
Is there a day where you have a better day?
From August 10th through.
No, I meant like now. I mean, if we wanted to do it every week or two, or is there any days?
It's a different thing. It's not about the time. It's about where my mind is at, and I just I am in two different headspaces exclusively. I'm either trying to make money, or I'm trying to finish. Right now, I have to write 10 poems. All right.
Yeah.
I have 2 weeks to write 10 really good poems of at least 100 lines. Dude, that's a lot. All right. So it's more like that. So my headspace just isn't there.
All right.
Now,
So I'll just keep checking with you.
Yeah. I mean, it's a delay. It's just, I'm on pause for a little while.
All right. So thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you soon.